Let me tell you why the attendance lady is my biggest op. I didn't want to go to Spanish today like everybody else who actually likes Spanish. I love the teacher, but I just wasn't feeling it, okay? I wasn't feeling Spanish. In first period, I write myself up a little note. Fake little note saying that I have a doctor's appointment and I need to leave at 1:30. Write it in my dad's handwriting and I do his signature. This worked with a chill teacher. My Spanish teacher, she likes to follow the rules, and that's great. That's great for her, not great for me. At the beginning of lunch, I go into my Spanish teacher's class and I'm like, hey, I have a note saying I have a doctor's appointment and I need to go home at such and such. Do I just give it to you or do I just give it to the office? She's like, you need to take it to the office and you need to turn it into them and you need to show me the slip that they gave you saying that you signed out. Great, no, that's fine. I'll just give them the note. Like, I have full confidence in my note. I walk up to the attendance office and our attendance lady, she's a bitch. So I walk up to the attendance office with full confidence in my note. I walk in there and there's a girl in front of me and she has a note as well. And the attendance lady looks like she's on one today. And she's doing extra to check that this note is authentic for the girl in front of me. So I start panicking a little. I'm like, oh no, I don't really want her to inspect this, and maybe she calls my dad to check it while I'm standing there. So then I get caught face to face. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna call the attendance office and pretend to be my mom. I star 67 the attendance office and I call them and they don't answer. So I'm like, great, I'm gonna leave a message and they're gonna sign me out. They're gonna believe this. I'm signing out so-and-so at 1:30 for a medical appointment, yada, yada, yada. I thought I did great. I put my best mom voice on. I'm like, this is so believable. This is gonna work. Didn't work. In my car, eating my lunch, waiting to go to Spanish for the first 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna leave with my little note. I get a call. From who? My dad. I'm like, shit, what is this about? I answer the phone. He says, where are you? I go, I'm in school. He goes, did you try to call yourself out of the attendance office? I'm like, no. He says, well, they called me. And they said somebody called and they didn't believe it. So they called me to verify. And then I tell him this bullshit story. I'm like, no, I was telling my friend, da-da-da. She's like, oh, I can sign you out. But I didn't think she would actually do it. And I said, no, it's okay because I have to go, yada, yada. My dad believed me. Thank God I'm not in trouble. But he was like, you better stay at school all day today. I'm like, don't worry, yeah, I am. That office lady is my op. Why would you call my dad? Why would you call my dad? Why would you need to go verify? Who does that? Who actually does that? I called. I said, I'm signing my daughter out. Sign me out. The fuck? It's just not that serious. Getting in trouble, so I guess it's fine, but that attendance lady is forever my op.
Okay, guys, I have the craziest friendship experience story time that I just have been holding for years, and it just came to my attention that this is happening to more people from these people. So now I'm just okay, it's my time. I'm obviously not going to say names or anything. I'm just going to call them thing 1, thing 2. They're twin sisters. That's pretty much all you need to know to put the pieces together here. But have you guys been friends with people that just lie about anything and everything? Well, yeah, now take that, times it by 1,000,000. Think pretends they have cancer level. Yeah. And I'm not going to talk about other people's experiences necessarily, but let's just say they've done things like this before. And there's so many red flags, and honestly, I feel so stupid because I was just trying to see the good in them. They seemed super nice people when I met them, and I just should have known. Anyways, so start off with them lying about random stuff. They graduated early, they went to McGill, and their mom is the head of cancer care, and this and that, all these things that are easy enough to fact check and see that is not true, obviously. But this is where it really happened and became personal and actually affected me emotionally. So we booked a trip to Calgary Stampede. We'd only been friends for probably 2 or 3 months at this point. But we're they're down for things, I'm down for things, let's book this trip. And there's 5 of us going, so it's me, my friend, them 2, and their friend. And the hard part about it is because unless you experienced it personally, you will never understand this truly. But now that I know other people have experienced it firsthand, it makes me feel I can actually share this and not feel crazy. So pretty much the very first night that we get to Stampede, one of them is in the room with us, one of them is in a different room getting ready, and the one in the room with us just starts crying and saying how she pretty much is gonna die, and she has lung cancer and is on a lung transplant list, and that she's been in and out of the hospital for the last like month or something without us knowing. And like, first of all, these girls are the biggest attention seekers ever. If there was actually something happening where they had to go to the hospital, they would be telling everybody and anybody about it. So I already know this isn't true. Plus, if you're on a lung transplant list, you are not at Calgary Stampede drinking and partying. Never mind like smoking or like anything like that. So anyways, I'm not believing it. My friend's not believing it. We're kind of like laughing about it because, like, not to be mean or anything, but we're just like, we don't believe you. A little background where how this makes this personal to me. This summer, my grandpa had actually been dying of cancer the entire summer and passed away actually a month after this happened. But yeah, I was watching him die all summer. So like, talking about cancer and like making like a lie about it is just something that's so wrong in so many ways, but it was just especially personal to me. And my other grandpa died when I was younger from lung cancer, and we found out he had lung cancer because he collapsed. And so I kind of bring this up. I'm like, girl, like, you don't have lung cancer. You're definitely not on a lung transplant list, because like, if you actually did, you wouldn't be here, and like, you wouldn't be able to party, because like, my grandpa collapsed when he had lung cancer because he couldn't breathe, this and that. So keep in mind that I did share this story with them. So I couldn't be around them anymore, so I let like thing one go out alone, and thing two stayed with us. And me and my friend were kind of like talking to her like, girl, like, is this for real? Because like, there's always two of them together. We rarely have one of them separate. And she's kind of like telling us like, yeah, she like kind of lies a lot, and like, she is like kind of a problem, and she like hurts a lot of our friendship. And so her own sister is telling us like, this girl does lie, like, and I just get dragged into it. And then later that night, we get a call from the friend that went with thing one, and it was like, guys, you have to come to the staircase right now. There's like an emergency. We run into the staircase, and there is thing one laid out, passed out in the stairwell, pretending that she's unconscious. And I asked the friend, like, how much did she have to drink? Because like, that was like where my mind went first, was like, oh, maybe she drank too much, and this was like whatever. But she's like, she didn't really drink much. So I'm like, okay, like maybe she got roofied or something. So regardless, I was like, we're gonna call 911. Okay, so I'm like, boop boop, okay, I'm calling. And then she like magically awakens, and it's like, oh, I'm alive. Super dramatic, may I add. And she's like, my lung, like, I need my medicine. And her sister goes and grabs the bronchitis puffer that they had from when they had bronchitis like a week earlier, that they were still both having. Like, they were both coughing like weird, which they were trying to play it off as like the lung cancer, but it was because they have bronchitis. Anyways, so then I like put all of the pieces together, and I was like, oh my god, she's trying to pretend like to pass out to try and make this more believable, that like, because this is what happened to my grandpa when he found out he had lung cancer. And that's when I was like, these people are evil. Okay, well, safe to say I was not friends with them after that experience, and they kind of apologized after for other things, but not for that specific thing. But yeah, the rest of Stampede was horrible. It was just not good. To this day, it was like the biggest waste of my money and time that I've ever had in my life. But whatever. So I got back home, and I wrote out this entire notes thing, which I'm sure I could probably find somewhere still. It had all the receipts of like everything, all their lies, everything they've ever said, like everything. And at the end, because I was like, okay, I honestly think that someone should just tell them these things, because if I was this psychotic and delusional, I would want someone to just tell me. And at the very end, I said, if I hear anything about me come out of your mouths, I will make sure this was like spread around. Like, people will hear about this. And the only reason I said that is because every close friend they've ever had in the past, they have spread the craziest, weirdest, like, actually horrible lies about, like, very controversial, which I'm not going to get into. And like, that, I respect those people a lot, because they really went through it. And obviously all that part of it was taken out if I were to share it with anybody. But whatever, I sent it to them, never heard anything back again. Honestly, never really saw them again. A week later, I hear, oh, actually, we stopped being friends with her because she just got super jealous of us at Stampede because we're getting all the male attention over her. And I just like couldn't help but laugh, because I was like, you couldn't have thought of anything else, like anything like maybe believable. So after that, I was like, you know what, screw it. And I like made a private story with a bunch of like my close girlfriends, and I was like, here you go, guys, eat this up. And honestly, it was like a PSA to like my close friends, like, do not fall for this trap of a friendship, because it's not worth it. Well, last weekend, it's been like years and I'm like completely over it now. But these two people came up and they're like, hey, so you're friends with the twins, right? And I was like, I haven't heard this in forever. But I was like, yeah, actually, I was. They're like, well, you wouldn't believe what happened to us. And I was like, baby girl, let me believe you. Whatever you say, I already believe you. And almost word for word, what they did to me, they did to them, including like pretending cancer. Like, I don't think they had it this time, but like their mom did or something. Just bizarre, like crazy. So needless to say, we're gonna start like a little trauma support group over this, because seriously, like, this is nuts. But yeah, if this also happened to you, like, let's all be friends and let's get drinks and talk about this, because what the heck. Anyways, peace and love, guys. That's just like, I can't believe I'm bringing this up after all this time. But like, I actually just like, I think it's the funniest thing. They've not learned their lesson at all. So
one time we had a catering order that was placed by a guest for pickup for 12 p.m. So about 25 to 30 minutes goes by and no one is here to pick up this order. So I go to the back, I get the contact information, I call the number that's on file, no one picks up. So I leave a message to let them know that their order was ready and to ask for me once they arrive. Now it's 1 o'clock. No one's here to pick up this order. So now this food has been sitting here for an hour waiting for someone to pick it up. So I go to the back, I double check like all of the information that we had, make sure that it wasn't us, that we didn't prepare it too early, that it was on the right date. I'll call the number again, I leave another message, no one responds. Now we're at about an hour and a half past pickup time. So I call the GM. I'm like, hey, I got this paid catering order here. It has not been picked up. I can't leave it sitting out. I have to go ahead and I have to put it in the walk-in. He's like, okay, go ahead, do what you got to do. So I'm like, do you mind if I go ahead and comp out some chafing Waxing Storytime so that if they do come really late, all they got to do is just go ahead and reheat it. We'll just take care of it. I'll just comp it out. He's like, yeah, no problem. Cool. Fine. We take the food, put it in the walk-in. I go about the shift. About 6 o'clock, I get a message on the walkie like, hey, Dr. So-and-so is here to pick up the catering order. So I'm like, what the hell? But all right, whatever. Go to the walk-in, I grab the food. I also have the server get the chafing racks and the sternos. But mind you, when I wanted to get the chafing racks and the sternos, I wasn't expecting the guy to be 6 hours late. So sternos and chafing racks, it's going to take forever to heat that food up, if it ever really fully gets heated up. But at this point, I don't know what to do. So I take a deep breath, I get to the front and I'm like, hey, Dr. So-and-so, this is your complete order here. We can take everything out and go over it just to make sure you have all your items. I said, but most importantly, right now, I do have to let you know that your food is cold. Unfortunately, the pickup time was at 12 o'clock. We weren't expecting you to not pick it up until 6 o'clock and we couldn't leave it sitting out that long. He interrupts me and he's like, wait. What do you mean it's cold? So I say, well, were you the one that placed the order? He says, it's my name on the order. So I said, okay, well, when you placed the order, I'm not sure if you realized, but you placed it for 12 o'clock. And he says, yeah, I know. I had a luncheon at 12 o'clock that I had to reschedule. So I say, oh, okay. I said, oh, that's understandable. I said, did you happen to call us and let us know that you rescheduled your meeting and you needed your food later? And he's like, why would I need to do that? I placed the order already. I said, oh, well, had you called us to let us know that you rescheduled your meeting, we would have waited to make the food for you. That way, by the time you came to pick it up, it would have been hot. And the doctor says, well, I don't understand why it's not hot now. So I say, well, again, you placed the order at 12 o'clock. It's now 6 o'clock. There was no way for me to be able to keep your food warm for 6 hours. And he goes, why not? This is a restaurant. So I look around and I confirm what he says. I say, yeah, you're right. This is a restaurant, which means that other people are going to be dining here as well. So that being said, we need use of our equipment. I don't have space to hold your food for 6 hours, sir. He puts his hands on his hips and he's like, well, you're just starting to sound ridiculous now, aren't you? So I say, well, if I am, that's only because of this situation. So there's no way, again, for us to hold your food for 6 hours and equipment that we use throughout the day. Not only that, even if I did have the space to hold it for 6 hours, the quality of your food would have been horrible. Your pasta would have been dried out. Your chicken would have been horrible. It just would have been horrible. We still wouldn't be able to serve it at that point. He says, well, why don't you go back there and warm it up now? I said, even if I were to do so, I can't just pop it in the microwave. It would have to go in the warmer for at least an hour. So he says, well, how long is it going to take for you to make it fresh? So I said, well, still, it's going to take at least 45 minutes to an hour to remake this order for you. I said, and even at that, you would have to pay again. And he's like, pay for what? And I'm like, sir, this isn't our fault here. I can't take the loss on this catering order here because you're 6 hours late because you didn't communicate with me. He goes, you know, I'm a doctor. What you're doing isn't rocket science. If I place an order, I expect to pick it up and it be hot. And I say, no, this isn't rocket science. But as a doctor, I would assume that time management and communication were easy concepts for you to understand, no? He says, you're really not trying to do anything to help me. And I don't understand how your incompetence has gotten you this far. I mean, because what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to heat this food up? So I say, well, as a doctor, I'm sure you'll figure something out, right? No? Then we got into a little stare off. And then he snatched the bag and stormed out.
You guys want to hear a scary story? It reminds me a lot of Insidious, but it's real. One time when I was babysitting these two girls, talked about them in a video before this. We were going to call the older one Luna and the younger one Aura. That's what I called them last time. I was babysitting, and the older one had an imaginary friend that she called Pete. I would always sense weird energy in this house. Disturbing, dark, like not good, friendly Casper the Ghost. And then one time, the oldest Luna at the time was, I want to say she was 3 or 4. And the baby, Aura, was like 6 months old. And I had put Aura down for bed. Put her in her little swaddle, got her all set up. She was snug as a bug, cute, perfect sleeping. And me and Luna were out in the living room. Because I was like, okay, we can play one game together, like before you go to sleep. Because Aura obviously went to bed a little bit earlier. Then we pulled out like Candyland, some board game, which obviously she doesn't know how to play the ins and outs and the rules because she's 3. But when we were playing, she had another little character and it was Pete's, right? And every time, I swear to God, I would look away, I'd look back and it would move and she'd be like, oh, Pete moved it. And I'm like, okay, Luna, like you obviously moved it, you know? Like she's 3 and I know she's just like, you know, she doesn't know how to play the game. Now I know it was literally this dark spirit that was moving it, but stay with me. I'm like, okay, Luna, sure. And then out of nowhere, we're playing and the TV was on in the background. Excuse me. And Luna goes, I love this song. And I'm like listening. I'm like, what song, baby? Like, I don't hear any music. And she said, oh, the song that Pete is singing to me. She said, it's a song that my daddy plays on his guitar because their dad played guitar, I guess. Like, I'd always see the guitar. Sometimes it'd be in the living room or sometimes it'd be in the parents' room. Like, when I'd go in there to grab stuff for the kids. It was just, like, always propped against a wall. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, remember what we said about Pete? Because I told her I didn't want her talking to Pete because, again, this felt like a dark energy. And it sucked because every time I was there, I felt like he was sitting in between me and her. Like, he was always, the spirit, Pete, was always hovering. It would never go away. So anyways, I'm like, what song? Blah, blah. And she's like, I'm trying to get her to describe to me again. She's 3. She doesn't really know how to describe it. And she says, no, Pete said he'll play for you. And I said, no, that's okay. Like, want anything to do with it? She said, no, he'll play for you. Just hold on. So I ignore it and we start playing this game again. Just moving little pieces across the board. And all of a sudden I hear the strum of a guitar. Just a solo strum, like an off chord. And I just get chills down my back because at this time the guitar was in the parents' room. I only knew that. I hadn't gone in their room that time. But because I heard it and their door was shut. And Luna jumps up. She's like, oh, I told you, Riley. Like I told you. Pete said he'd show you the song. It's my favorite song. And I'm terrified. Like I'm trying so hard to act cool. I don't know how this little girl is not so scared. But I'm just like, oh, okay, hold on. Let me just go look real quick because my immediate thought was like maybe somebody's in the house, like a real person, because that sounded way too real. It literally was just a strum of a guitar. So I go into the parents' room, I turn on all the lights, the guitar is just sitting against the wall. Nobody's in the house. I do a sweep, and I'm like really disturbed because every sweep I'm doing, I feel like something is just hovering and following me into every room I'm going into.
So I finally sit back down with her. I'm like, okay, babe, let's watch like 10 more minutes of the show and then like we're gonna go to bed. When I sat on the couch with her, it was the first time I felt like not super heavy, overpowering energy. And I'm like, whew, okay, like, but anyways, I was like, okay, this feels a little less heavy. Sorry, my dog's drinking water in the background. She's so loud. So I'm like, okay, I can breathe a little bit. And I pick up the baby monitor right next to us. You guys know what's coming. You've seen the scary movies because it literally was just like that. Pick up the baby monitor to check on Aura and I literally gag when I think about this because it was so terrifying. I see a hand, right next to the baby. She's sleeping, she's swaddling, and it's a creepy hand where the nails are like this long and it's just this black shadowy hand just right next to her. And again, this is the first time I said I felt relieved, like I wasn't being followed. It's because it went in the other room. I freak out. I literally sprinted, ran, busted into Aura's room, woke her up because I came in the door so hot. She was crying and just felt that energy in that room was disgusting. I pick her up, I bring her back out to the living room. I'm like trying to explain to the parents when they come home, like they're gonna think I'm insane of why their kids are still awake. And I'm sitting on the couch with the baby and with Luna, and I forgot to turn off the baby monitor. And I literally hear just disembodied voices coming from the baby monitor. Terrifying, out of nowhere, loud. And I literally just shut the baby monitor off. And the baby ended up falling back asleep in my arms. Luna ended up falling back asleep, and she like fell asleep on me, like her little head was on my shoulder. When the parents came home, I was like, sorry, they're just like so sweet, and they just want to sleep out here with me. Because I tried again to, like I've explained this in the other video, but I tried to kind of bring it up to them before, how like something I thought was going on in their house paranormal, and they looked at me like I was fucking insane. So I knew I wasn't getting anywhere with that. But that was also one of the terrifying times I experienced babysitting for those kids.
To prevent me from crashing out real bad right now, I'm going to explain to you the work drama. I told y'all I wasn't going to come and explain to y'all because I'm like, oh, what if they see my TikTok? Don't care. This is my personal diary. So if you find my TikTok, you're digging and you really want to know my life. So, oh well. So, here's the tea, okay? I got hired at my daughter's school. I cook. Very simple. It works with her hours. I can't find nothing else that don't work with her schedule, okay? I have to go with what my daughter is doing. So, I work at her school. I cook. Very simple. Easy. When I got hired, okay, I got asked, do you want the management position or do you just want to be a cook? I purposely picked my daughter's school, okay, because my daughter, she's working through some things and I want to be close to her. Unfortunately, her school did not have a management position. So I'm stuck in this low-level position dealing with people above me who have issues with me, like always. People always have a fucking problem with me because I don't kiss ass and I'm blunt. And if you give me a shitty ass attitude, I give you that shitty ass attitude back. So, when I went to my orientation meeting, the topic of nails, fake nails came up, and I was told, because a question was asked, can we have French tip nails? It was made clear to my brain that we can have French tip nails, okay? So I went and got French tip nails like 2 weeks ago, okay? French tip nails. I'm thinking in the orientation meeting, they said French tip nails, right? No, I'm mistaken. Apparently, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, I guess. So I go into work, The person above me comes up to me immediately, like, you can't have those. I'm like, they're already approved. Like, I wouldn't get something I think is wrong or is going to stir the pot in a workplace that is already giving me like the ick. Okay. So I'm like, they're already approved. She's like, no, that's their policy. This is our policy. I'm like, what? Y'all hired me. They hired me. So how is this not the same policy? You know? All right. So these are my nails now. Okay. I got them manicured. I didn't just completely have my nasty nails showing for a wedding. No, I did get them manicured. And my nails are very brittle. They break off. So she was like, I could put the powder on, shape it. She put the powder on and shaped it. Okay, this is what they look like. Manicured. Because I have a wedding to attend. Okay. I get into work today. Okay. I get into work. I didn't even get a chance to clock in. The first thing out this woman's mouth: you need to leave. You need to leave. I said, why? She said, your nails, you need to leave. I said, I took off the French tip. I got them manicured. It is a powder, but it's not paint. Like, I got them manicured and I got them shaped. Like, what's the problem now? What's the issue? Like, we don't wear gloves 24/7. What's the issue? So she's like, it's a fake tip. I'm like, in order for my nail to break off, somebody's gonna have to literally slice my finger off. Like, it's not a tip that comes off. It's not a tip. I'm telling her, it's a powder, and the lady was like, this is gonna make your nail strong. It's not gonna break off if you do, you know. So I'm telling her, I might be telling her aggressively, because I'm like, at this point, I'm sick of your shit. Like, you already have a personal issue with me because of how I came in. I get it. You feel like I'm stepping on your toes because you're not a great manager. You're not about teamwork. You're not about morale. Like, everyone walks around droopy. When I got there, everyone was like to themselves and quiet. When I got in there, I guess I was doing things that made her, feel, I don't know, weird. She had this whiteboard that one of the people I work with told me they never used. Like, for 3 weeks straight, no one ever used it. I brought some expo markers in from work, and I started doing quote of the day, because I used to do that. We used to do that at my old job, and I'm like, that is so, something to look forward to when you come in. Ooh, what's the quote of the day? I had the coworkers telling me, oh, that's so cute. Like, who did that? Da, 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 da. I took a picture of it. She sees it. The person above me, she sees it. She looks at it. She asked me, where did you get an expo marker from? I said, at home. I said, I'm extra. I brought it from home. And that's all she says about it. She walks away. And I know she felt some type of way about me doing that little thing, because the next day when I wrote my quote, she wiped it off in the morning and wrote a nasty message about inventory on it. Right? So she has this issue with me because when I got there, it seemed like she was bullying our coworkers. She was bullying our coworkers around. She was screaming. She was talking to them any type of way. And that's not me. That is not me. I'm not going to let you scream at me. I'm not going to let you bully me. It's not happening. I give the same energy back. I do. That's just what I do. And that's why a lot of times people don't like me. So I feel like when I came into work today, she was just searching. She was searching for a reason. So then, after she told me to leave, she smacked this paper down on the desk. I grabbed the paper and I left. I read the paper. It is an email between her and HR, and it's a couple. It's their conversation on here. You put the conversation of you and HR, the woman who unknowingly approved my French tips. You put her conversation in here too. So now I have to go to HR. I emailed HR, actually. She's not in the office, but I'm about to pull up, because unknowingly I have your side of the conversation now, where you're saying, oh, maybe she forgot. Or if she uses the excuse of nobody told her, maybe remind her of the policy. She definitely got told about the policies. No, I didn't. The problem is, you told me one thing when the rules might have been this. And now somebody's trying to cover their behind, which is unfair to me. But this is what my nails look like right now. It's Thursday. I'm scheduled for work. I told HR in the email, go ahead and let them know I'm not coming to work tomorrow because I don't have the funds to redo them. I'm out $140 because I changed them from the French tip to go to this. I'm not doing it again. It's just not, no, I'm not doing it again. So yeah, also in the email thread, the person above me had the option to send me home or not. Like, she could have kept me and just, I wear gloves 24/7 anyways. It wouldn't have mattered. She could have kept me, but the fact she has this personal thing against me, I already feel it. Whatever the fact, she don't like my personality because I won't let her step on me. Like, that's basically what it is. So she had the choice of keeping me there or sending me home if it didn't affect the team, basically. Now, she chose to send me home. The kitchen is small. There's not that many workers there. There's only like 4 of us that actually work, okay? Me going home impacts, it definitely does shake up the kitchen because it's not that many of us. The people that are already in there, or be stressed, okay? They be stressed out. So the fact that she, I don't know, was on a power trip so bad that you sent me home when you could have just given me my written notice and kept me. I'm a worker, baby. Like, you could give me my notice and I'm not going to be walking around with a funky attitude. I'm going to work. So these are my nails. Woo! I'm not gonna lie, my nails are pretty though. And yeah, if you see this, girl, don't. Please block yourself.